So we woke up this morning with a bunch of news happening at the Disney parks.
Yeah, Disney dropped a bomb on us this morning with basically an all-new version of Lightning Lane.
Yeah.
It's been about 3 years since Genie Plus was a thing.
Yeah.
About 2 or 3 months since the Lightning Lane multipass was a thing.
Right.
And now, as of today, October 16th, in the year of our Lord, 2024,
Yes.
now the Lightning Lane Premier Pass is a thing.
The Premier Pass.
What on earth is the Lightning Lane Premier Pass?
So just so you guys know, we've got, a bunch of stuff going on this October. It's a very busy October, but we found it important enough to come on here and break down exactly what is going on so you can know exactly what you need to know about this announcement.
There's a lot of heated discussion happening right
There
now
is.
on the social medias, so we figured, oh, what the heck? Let's go give our opinion and put it out into the interwebs, because that's what we do here at a couple of park hoppers.
Yeah, but first we're going to go through everything, all the facts. I would say facts very loosely.
Yes.
But everything that Disney has already announced.
Everything that we go over today, aside from our opinions on it, is directly from DisneyWorld.com.
Exactly.
Everything is from the source, from the mouse himself.
From the mouse.
Okay. So again, the Lightning Lane Premier Pass. Now, this has been rumored for a while because Universal Orlando basically has been doing something similar to this for a very long time. And It's
Right.
been very successful for them. It's very expensive, but a lot of people do take advantage of it because of the way that the actual program works. One other interesting thing that Universal differs from Disney as far as this program goes is that it's actually a complimentary benefit for some of their resort guests.
Right.
However, we're going to dive in right now to what the Lightning Lane Premier Pass entails, how it works, how much it costs, all that fun stuff, and then we're going to give kind of our thoughts on everything.
Yeah.
All right, so why don't we say we just dive right in here to the Lightning Lane Premier Pass. Go ahead, Danny.
So the new Lightning Lane Premier Pass. A convenient way to save time in Lightning Lane Premier Pass allows one-time entry to each Lightning Lane experience in a theme park to enjoy at your leisure that day. Beginning October 30th, 2024, we will begin piloting the rollout of Lightning Lane Premier Pass with very limited quantities for guests staying at Disney Deluxe Resorts, Disney Deluxe Villa Resorts, and other select hotels.
So that's really interesting. So now the Lightning Lane Premier Pass is being rolled out on October 30th. That's the day before Halloween. Very, very busy time here at Disney. For guests only staying at the Deluxe Resorts, the Disney Deluxe Villa Resorts, and other select hotels. So it's all of the Deluxe Resorts on Disney property, plus Swan, Swan Reserve, and Shades of Green. Those are the resorts that are eligible to be able to try the new Lightning Lane Premier Pass as of October 30th.
A couple quick words I also want to point out. Piloting.
Yes.
The rollout.
They did use that word piloting on the website.
So a pilot program is generally something that they're testing the waters.
Or
I
giving
would
it
say.
the old try.
And then also that I wanted to point out to experience in a theme park. So we're going to come back around to that,
point.
but a theme park is very specific wording. So let's move on to how it works.
Yeah. You can get a one-time entry to each available Lightning Lane experience in a park for one day, including the most in-demand attractions. Ride the attractions you want when you want. You do not need to choose specific arrival times. Enjoy photo perks, including digital downloads of select attraction photos and videos, plus unlock Disney Photo Pass lenses. Now, that's some interesting information right there, because the thing that really stands out to me is that you do not need to choose a specific arrival time. That is a potential game changer for this Premier Pass, because one of the biggest issues that folks had with the Lightning Lane multipass and the Genie Plus and all that stuff, while it costs money, nobody really had this issue prior to COVID with fastpass plus because it was free. You didn't get a fastpass, you didn't pay for it. It's whatever.
Exactly.
But now that it's not complimentary anymore, the issues that people have had with Genie Plus and the Lightning Lane multipass, so many freaking names.
I know.
The Lightning Lane multipass is that not everything was available during the day. No matter when, it's just at least at some point during the day, not everything was available.
Right.
There was rides that would disappear first thing in the morning. So if you are to use this Lightning Lane Premier Pass, I have to keep looking at the screen to say Lightning Lane Premier Pass.
Lightning Lane Premier Pass.
If you are using this, you don't have to worry about that 7 a.m. virtual queue or that 7 a.m. first Lightning Lane drop. You literally just go and you just get in the Lightning Lane line, just like Universal does with their Express Pass. When you buy Express at Universal or you stay in one of their deluxe resorts, you have ability to go into the Express lane whenever you want. You just walk right in. You don't need a return time. You don't need anything like that. So that right there is probably the most appealing part of this new program, the Lightning Lane Premier Pass.
And what people have been asking for this entire time.
Yes, for sure.
All right. So the next question, why Lightning Lane Premier Pass? All 3 Lightning Lane passes enable you to skip the standby line and use the Lightning Lane entrance to join a shorter line for select theme park attractions and experiences. However, Lightning Lane Premier Pass differs from Lightning Lane Multipass and Lightning Lane Single Pass in the following ways. With Lightning Lane Premier Pass, you don't have to choose arrival windows for Lightning Lane attractions and experiences, so you can enter Lightning Lane entrances for the experiences you want, when you want, subject to availability. With other Lightning Lane passes, you must choose on arrival window for each Lightning Lane experience. And then also, Lightning Lane Premier Pass gives you one-time entry to each available Lightning Lane experience in one park for one day. This includes Lightning Lane Multipass experiences and Lightning Lane Single Pass experiences in that park. So the biggest takeaway from why Lightning Lane Premier Pass is because you get to just, like Bill said, walk up when you want and go through the Lightning Lane. Now, one thing about that is they said subject to availability. I'm guessing that's more like
ride closures,
ride
things like
closures,
that.
Ride is down. Like, sorry, you can't go through the Lightning Lane if a ride is not available.
If everything is open and you have the Premier Pass, you'll be able to use your Lightning Lane at every single attraction during the day.
Yeah.
Now, there's a recent announcement that things like, or an attraction like Big Thunder Mountain is going down for over a year. So that is subject to availability. You obviously won't be able to ride Big Thunder Mountain if it's being refurbished for over a year. Or if there's if there's thunder and lightning in the area and the outdoor attractions go down, subject to availability. This is not something that you need to pre-book ahead of time. Again, so it's not, you're guaranteed time constraint wise. As long as you can fit it in your park day, you're guaranteed to get in any Lightning Lane you want one time. That's how this works.
Exactly. And I did want to bring attention to, like Bill said, one time through the Lightning Lane.
That's the big one.
At one park. So a lot of people have definitely enjoyed park hopping, just like us. We're a couple of park hoppers. But what we are understanding at this current pilot program moment that they are going to start on October 30th is that one park, just one park, your choice of park.
Yeah, it says one park per day per person. One question that Danny raised, it's a great question, and I couldn't really find the answer anywhere. So I'd love if somebody from Disney is listening to this. Let us know in the comments or message us directly. She wanted to know, since park hopping is not included, would those wanting to do 2 parks in one day be able to purchase both parks worth of Lightning Lane Premier Pass,
Right.
which would be very expensive. And we'll get to that later.
Right.
That
So
would
we're
be
not-
very expensive.
So we're not talking about like necessarily like how much it would cost, because like if you're buying this, you know, then that's your business.
Right.
But like, let's just say you wanted to start at Animal Kingdom, which closes early.
Right.
And maybe there's a night where Magic Kingdom closes later. Are you able to purchase your Animal Kingdom Lightning Lane Premier Pass as well as Magic Kingdom Lightning Lane Premier Pass, so that you can do Animal Kingdom? Let's just say you rope drop Animal Kingdom, close it, and then immediately decide to go to Magic Kingdom.
Yeah, it's a very interesting question. I don't know the answer to that. They didn't make that very clear, but they did make it clear that this does not include any sort of park hopping benefits at all. It is one park per person per day. I have another kind of question, I guess, because with Disney tickets, it gets a little confusing for folks who are buying one-day tickets or tickets for their vacation that don't have annual passes.
Right.
When you're buying tickets, if you want the park hopper option, you've got to have the park hopper option for the whole day. So will there be like a new way to kind of separate the tickets if you wanted to have one day where you wanted to do this?
Oh, you mean the whole trip?
Yeah, you have one day where you want to do this Lightning Lane Premier Pass where you can only do it in that one park. Will you be able to buy a one-day ticket for that park, or will you just have to purchase the park hopper and just only use it in one park, and that's how that works? I don't know. That's a great question that I have for the folks over at Disney. I would imagine that for the folks who are doing the longer stays, those ticket prices aren't that different anyway, whether you do park hopper or not. But the folks who are doing like 2 or 3 nights, that could be a big difference in one-day tickets versus park hopper tickets,
right,
or one park tickets. So that's a question that I would like answered as well. I'm sure, like Danny said, this is a pilot program. So I'm sure that those answers and everything will be kind of hashed out over the next 2 weeks before the Lightning Lane Premier Pass officially debuts.
Before we just move on to the next thing, I wanted to also mention that earlier it said that the Lightning Lane Premier Pass will be very limited quantities.
Quantities.
Those are quantities.
Quantities over qualities.
Whoops. Freudian slip. Quantities. So what I'm saying is that if it's very limited, would even being able to buy 2 parks be available?
I don't know.
Like, I'm not sure what.
Yeah, that's another good question.
What's very limited mean?
There's so much gray area when it comes to this kind of stuff. There's so many questions that somebody will be able to have an answer for us, I would imagine, before this starts in the 30th, but we'll see.
Yeah. All right. So
one really cool thing that this does include, and it's actually included in the Lightning Lane multipass as well. It's not included when you buy individual Lightning Lanes. The third thing.
Yeah.
It's not included when you buy individual Lightning Lanes, like when you buy the Tron ride or Guardians of the Galaxy Cosmic Rewind by itself. It is included when you buy the multipass, though, and those are photo perks. You will receive digital downloads of select attraction photos and videos from your day captured with Disney PhotoPass service, plus access Disney PhotoPass lenses. Unlock those lenses, which help you transform your Disney photos with Disney-themed augmented reality effects. This is something that when you, like I said, when you purchase the individual Lightning Lane, you do get ride and attraction photos and videos included for the day that you purchased the individual, the Lightning Lane multi-pass service, the one that exists now.
In case you can't tell, we are also trying to get a hold of all of the different names and terms
Could
and words.
Could they make it any more confusing to visit a Disney park right now? It's kind of crazy. Yeah. Imagine, I talk to people all the time that tell me that they don't even have the My Disney Experience app on their phone. And I'm so curious what that's like. How do you go to Disney, not research? And there's so much research. It can certainly be daunting. How can you go to Disney without knowing all this stuff and have a great time. That it just seems so confusing to the average person. Danny and I are pretty well versed in this stuff by now. We've gone so many times using Genie Plus and Lightning Lanes and all that stuff. But for the average person, and even for us, it's still confusing because all this stuff is so new and there's so many. You can do this, but you can't do this and this and this, this. So many moving parts, and it's just it's becoming a very interesting experience, to say the least.
We're also
for the average person.
We're also in a like a time of change for Disney with the way that they're handling a lot of things.
Right.
And so I'm hoping these are growing pains, but we just don't know, because after COVID, they used that opportunity to kind of hit the reset button on a lot. But then we keep hitting the reset button. Now, just overall, we'll get to the other stuff. I was just going to say overall, there's a couple other things, but yeah, we also see all this, and when somebody even asks us like, "Hey, how do I do this?" It's not an easy answer,
right?
Ever, or simple. And then, yeah, adding this in makes it even more confusing, I think.
For sure.
So let's see. And we already went over our eligibility, correct?
Correct. There is another piece of eligibility that I want to touch on here because this is super important for the folks who don't know which resorts are the deluxe resorts.
Okay.
So I wanted to kind of bring up a graphic here so you can see what resorts are eligible and are the Disney deluxe resorts. So you've got Animal Kingdom Lodge, Beach Club, Boardwalk, Contemporary, Grand Floridian, Polynesian, Wilderness Lodge, the Yacht Club, Contemporary, Wilderness Lodge, Fort Wilderness Cabins, the Disney Vacation Club cabins only, which we actually just got to stay in.
Yeah.
Go check out our video. It's a really cool cabin tour of the brand new cabin. Animal Kingdom Lodge, Jumbo House, Kidani Village, Old Key West, Saratoga Springs, Riviera. And then we said the other eligible hotels were the Walt Disney World Swan, Dolphin, Swan Reserve, and the Military Shades of Green Resort.
So that's the really in-depth breakdown, but on the Disney, directly from Disney, it said eligibility. Lightning Lane Premier Pass will be available in very limited quantities for guests staying at Disney Deluxe Resorts, Disney Deluxe Villa Resorts, and other select hotels. So what Bill said is the opening up. What does that mean?
Correct.
So that's where the eligibility, again, currently lies.
So as of October 30th, unfortunately, if you are staying at the 3 all-star resorts, Pop Century, Art of Animation, Caribbean Beach, Riverside, French Quarter, and Coronado Springs, you are not eligible for the use of the Lightning Lane Premier Pass.
Well, here's the next fun question.
Oh, yeah? What's that?
How much does it cost?
How much does it cost?
How much does it cost?
Reminds me of Book of Mormon.
That's the question that we're going to answer right now.
Oh, get ready. If you're not ready, strap in.
So prices for Lightning Lane Premier Passes vary by date and theme park. At launch, prices will range from $129 to $449 per pass.
Oh my gosh.
Plus tax, with the highest prices falling on a limited number of days over peak travel periods. Now, we have a graphic up that lets us know some of those ranges in prices.
Yes, Animal Kingdom will be the least expensive Premier Pass, and that it will range between $129 and $199 plus tax per person. Epcot, the next one, is $169 to $249 plus tax per person. Hollywood Studios, $269 to $349 plus tax per person. And Magic Kingdom is the most expensive Premier Pass, with it ranging from $329 to $449 plus tax per person. And the reason for those price differences are just number of attractions. That's the most you can do is at Magic Kingdom, and the least you can do is at Animal Kingdom. So it's one of those things that the more there is, the more they're going to charge for it.
So eligible guests, so not non-eligible guests.
Yeah.
Eligible guests will be able to view prices in the My Disney Experience app. So what I'm hearing with that is if you're Danny or Bill and you're just chilling on the couch and you don't have a reservation potentially to one of the resorts that are eligible, you can't just peruse and window shop the prices.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's quite the range of prices.
Yeah, $129 to $449 is one heck of a range.
Per pass.
Per pass.
Plus
tax. Uncle Sam's always got to get his.
Yes, per pass, per person.
Yes.
So when you're hearing per pass, this is not like how many people can I fit under my family pass?
Mm-hmm.
No.
Nope.
No.
Nope. According to Scott Gustin, who is literally the dude when it comes to breaking Disney news, he listed that the current prices for the October 30th launch day for the 4 Disney parks, Magic Kingdom will be $329, Hollywood Studios will be $269, Epcot will be $169, and Animal Kingdom will be $129. So all of them are the low end of those ranges that we just gave for the first day of the Lightning Lane Premier Pass on October 30th. One really interesting thing to note is the fact that the Express Pass at Universal for that same day for Islands of Adventure will be $115, and Universal Studios Florida will be $110. Now, it's important to note, and I didn't have it listed here, but I did read it, that Universal uses dynamic pricing. When Disney lists the prices on the app, that's what they're going to be. However, Universal uses dynamic, where they could go down, they could go up, and they most certainly will go up for day of. So that 115 and the 110 that we just said for Islands of Adventure and Universal Studios Florida will most certainly go up in the next 2 weeks. So fairly somewhat comparable prices to their competition for kind of the same program between Disney's new Lightning Lane Premier Pass and Universal's Express Pass, because the cost is jarring. But when you look around at the other parks, it's not that much different. It's definitely different, but it's not that much different.
Yeah, and one thing I did want to also mention is I know we were just talking about the Express Pass for
yeah, good call.
For Universal. However, one thing I did want to mention is also Wednesday on the 30th, Universal closes early.
Mm-hmm.
Their evening pass, their Express Pass for Halloween Horror Nights on a Wednesday night is with tax almost $300.
Yeah. So if you wanted to do the Express Pass at Universal Studios Florida for a day that ends at 5:00, that'll be $110 right now if you purchased it right now. And then you said it was another $300 if you want to do Horror Nights?
It's $240, but every time they tack on the fees and the tax, it's always like it would be closer to.
So that's almost a $400 day right there, just on Express Passes.
Right. So I do just want to kind of also be the devil's advocate.
Oh, totally. Yeah.
In the sense
glad you brought that up.
There is that park closes early, so you are getting a partial day with
Correct.
that. But it's kind of good to see the numbers stacked up. So if you were doing a full day at Universal, you would buy a Universal Day Pass,
yes,
a Halloween Horror Nights ticket, and then you would also spend, what would we say? It would be like about $400 for Express Passes.
It's crazy.
So everything is not always as it
crazy.
seems, like when you kind of look at it like that, but also, every day is different.
Yeah.
Every day is different for offerings at theme parks.
Now, the next thing I wanted to go over, and this is really important information because it does include some very, very interesting information that makes this Lightning Lane Premier Pass a little bit more worth it. Now, the 4 parks at Disney, right now, there are limitations when it comes to the individual Lightning Lanes are only things like Guardians and Rise of the Resistance and Flight of Passage, Tron, and Seven Dwarfs Mine Train. I believe those are the 5 that are individually sold.
Right.
Those then are not included in the Lightning Lane multipass, which includes everything else, but it doesn't include those attractions. However, with Lightning Lane Premier Pass, you are able to utilize the Lightning Lane for those attractions included in this price. So let's take a look at the Magic Kingdom and Hollywood Studios attractions, and the notable ones, like I was just saying, on Magic Kingdom, there's Tiana's Bayou Adventure, there's Tron Light Cycle Run, there's Seven Dwarfs Mine Train. Those three alone right now are not able to be utilized in. Well, I'm sorry. Tron is now a standby line. Standby line. However, the fact that you get to just walk right into the Lightning Lane queue for Tron, for Tiana's, and for Seven Dwarfs Mine Train, that may be worth it to some folks.
Right.
Over at Hollywood Studios, notably, the Star Wars Rise of the Resistance is now on there as well. So that's a ride that it does have a standby line. It gets pretty long. You can spend an hour or two in that line any day you go to Hollywood Studios. But now that is part of the Lightning Lane Premier Pass. God, this is so confusing. The Lightning Lane Premier Pass. I feel like they should just call it like just Premier Pass. Don't say Lightning Lane Premier Pass, because Lightning Lane is just used for 4 different things at this point. But Star Wars Rise of the Resistance is part of that, which is a seller for a lot of people. And then let's move over to Epcot and Disney's Animal Kingdom. Notably, like I said before, Guardians of the Galaxy Cosmic Rewind, something like Remy's Ratatouille Adventure, which disappears almost first thing in the morning. Same with Slinky Dog Dash. I didn't mention that before.
Yeah,
and
oh my gosh.
It just appears the first thing in the morning when you're trying to book your first Lightning Lane at 7 a.m., waking up on vacation at 6:45 in the morning. I gotta love that. Gotta love that.
And I'm not sure if you said it, but Remy's is always surprisingly long
in
terms of wait times. But yeah, you've got Epcot, and then for Animal Kingdom,
Flight of Passage,
Dinosaur.
Navi River Journey is always shockingly long.
For now, Dinosaur.
Yeah, right.
Before it closes and or gets reimagined. Expedition Everest is a great one. Festival of the Lion King is a great one. But Kilimanjaro safaris can be very long.
Yeah. And the selling point of this again is that you literally just walk up and you go.
Right.
This is not like, oh, I got a 150 for Everest and it's like 10:20 in the morning. I got to wait 3.5 hours to go ride Everest. No. If you haven't used it yet, because again, it is a one-time per attraction service.
Right.
If you haven't used it, you walk up to the Lightning Lane, you go bing bing, and you go in. That is the selling point for this. You don't have to have return times. You don't need to book things. You don't need to hope that they're available, and you don't need to constantly refresh on your phone to hope that somebody canceled their plan so that you have something that you want to do.
Now, again, the limiting. So this is a limit 1 Lightning Lane entry per experience per day per person for whatever price you're paying. One thing that, we didn't go through the list in full. It's a lot of attractions and stuff.
Right.
But anything that you can think of. However,
this is another great question.
The only thing that notably is not on there, and this is coming from, I'm a character girly. I like to meet the characters. Our character meet and greets and parades included. I am just such a sucker for getting to meet Mickey.
Yeah.
I love meeting characters.
I don't know for a fact if this is the case, but right now, the Lightning Lane Multipass does include things like Meet Mickey at Town Square Theater and the one at Animal Kingdom, the Adventurers Outpost.
Right.
And
character Mickey and Minnie.
Correct. Experiences like that are available to schedule on your current Lightning Lane Multipass. So I would absolutely imagine that anything that has a Lightning Lane or has once been eligible for a Lightning Lane will be included with the Premier Pass. But that's another great question that we don't know the official answer to.
Yeah, that was almost the last thing that we did the very first day that this Lightning Lane Multipass was available, because, like I said, I love meeting Mickey.
Yeah.
And it was available to book through our purchase. So I will also say, if I remember correctly, I'm almost positive that the characters and the parades were not on the list when it first came out.
That's correct.
Because I had the same question of, if I'm going to pay for this, do I get to do something that is important on my trip?
And notably, we'll go back to this slide here, but you do see that Indiana Jones Stunt Spectacular, Beauty and the Beast live on stage are listed on the list here. However, there's a weird missing bullet point for some reason. I would imagine that's for the first time in forever, a Frozen Sing-Along Spectacular, because that's where it would go alphabetically. I'm not really sure what happened there. What happened there, if there was like an error on the website or something. But it seems like Beauty and the Beast live on stage, Indiana Jones, and there was also the Disney Junior Play and Dance. Those are all included. So I would imagine that shows and character experiences will be on the list once it officially comes out.
Well, we're saying we imagine. Please take that with a grain of salt.
No.
It's just something that if I were to be visiting Disney World, even just if it were you and I and we didn't live here, I would be like, hey, do I get to do that? Is that part of the experience I'm paying for?
Yeah, for sure.
So, but yeah, well, let's go over the rundown and then let's kind of discuss a little bit.
Just kind of like an overall, like overarching kind of look at this Lightning Lane Premier Pass. With the Premier Pass, it debuts October 30th, available to guests at Disney Deluxe, Villa, and DVC hotels.
Lightning Lane Premier Pass can be purchased up to 7 days prior.
The price, again, is for one park, one Lightning Lane per ride for 1 day.
Per person.
Per person, yes.
And then prices will vary by date and theme park.
Animal Kingdom ranges between $129 and $199 plus tax per person.
Epcot will range from $169 to $249 plus tax per person.
Hollywood Studios will range from $269 to $349 plus tax per person.
And Magic Kingdom will range from $329 through $449 plus tax per person.
One real quick thing I wanted to go over before we kind of give our opinions and thoughts is I saw this really, really cool graphic online.
Okay.
From All Central FLA on X, or Twitter as it used to be called. Really, really great account to follow, but they had this really interesting chart. I'm going to pull it up here on the screen here for all of us to see. But you can see on the screen here between SeaWorld, Universal, and Disney with the new Lightning Lane Premier Pass, there are price comparisons. There's low season, average season, and high season. If you look at the averages, generally, this Disney Lightning Lane Premier Pass is going to be the most expensive one. However, if you look at the number of attractions, they're pretty comparable. Magic Kingdom has the most attractions of any park, so that's why it's going to be the most expensive. But when you look at the low season, average season, and the high season for a place like Animal Kingdom, that's pretty comparable to the Express Pass at Universal Studios. Same with Magic Kingdom, $23.91, comparable with $21.30 per attraction.
Right.
So that's an interesting way to kind of look at everything, where Universal average season is $14.51 per attraction, whereas Disney's will be $20.48 per attraction. And then in high season, you're looking at $21.37 for Universal per attraction and $23.94 for Disney. So in the high season, Universal's gets significantly more expensive, where Disney's is kind of like stays a little bit closer. So I thought that was really interesting to see that the low season, the Disney's is going to be significantly more expensive, but the high season, they're much, much closer in price.
So breaking news.
Love that.
Scott Gustin on Twitter. So he's at Scott Gustin on Twitter. He has answered a few of our questions.
Oh, perfect.
So
he's listening.
You can only buy Lightning Lane Premier Pass for one park each day. You are not able to buy multiple. So you can't do the Animal Kingdom, Magic Kingdom example.
Got it.
You pick your favorite park and you go with that. And honestly, enjoy that park if you're paying for it.
Yeah, stay there the whole darn day.
You can buy Lightning Lane Premier Pass and also purchase Lightning Lane Multipass and or lightning lane single pass if you want to.
Okay.
So you can stack it up if you want.
Stack it up.
You can continue to use virtual queue for attractions as normal as well. So you are able to double dip, so to say.
Yeah, so you can get Guardians virtual queue in the morning if you really want to get up at 7 and ride it twice. You can definitely
like
do that.
we normally do.
Yeah, I mean, this might be the first time you might be able to triple ride Guardians in one day, with where you can do.
That's an expensive.
Yeah, where you can do the Lightning Lane Premier Pass. You can buy the individual Lightning Lane and get the virtual queue.
I mean, it's a great ride.
So confusing.
But just paying to ride it once out of pocket and like being able to ride it twice felt like I was, we were spending a lot of money.
Right.
But I mean, again, not my wallet that this is going to be coming out of.
Well, now that we've gone over all the stats and the
Yes.
facts, I just kind of want to have like a little bit of a frank conversation and just, what are your thoughts? What are your thoughts on this new Premier Pass? Does it sound like something you would ever do? Does it sound like something that would be worth it to the average person if it ever gets released to the average person outside of the deluxe resorts? Just, I'm so curious what your thoughts are, because I definitely have some thoughts for sure.
So my first thought is I really wish that they just scrapped everything and started like with a fresh, much simpler way to do this. Because with every change, it's getting more confusing.
Agreed.
Not only that, like changing things from, the way that the DAS is currently being handled, what you can buy, when you can buy it for Lightning Lane multipass, the single pass, the virtual queue, and now adding in this, I just feel like almost it would be more beneficial to consumers to literally just go back to the drawing board and say, this is the way it is now, and keep it like that, because it is so discombobulating to have to learn this system as locals. But if you're trying to plan a trip, some people plan trips a year in advance. Imagine continuing to get this information. That would be so stressful. And I just feel like there's too many options that have too many variables, that every couple months we're getting a new variation of another offering.
Yep.
And I really just wish they would scrap the entire thing and make it clean.
Yeah. I was saying that to you before we came on to record. I think that if this goes well and the folks from the deluxe resorts are purchasing this very expensive express pass, essentially, I would love to see them get rid of the other two Lightning Lane things altogether. At the very least, the Lightning Lane multipass. That should go away forever. Because that thing has become kind of a cash cow for this company.
Right.
Where it's cheap enough where just about everybody can afford it. But it doesn't give the same experience as the Lightning Lane Premier Pass. You're subject to availability. You may not get more than 2 or 3 rides that you want, but it's cheap enough that even if you did get 2 or 3 rides that you want, you're not mad at the world because you paid for it. If we go forward and we have this Lightning Lane Premier Pass for the more fortunate folks out there, this Lightning Lane Multipass, which tons of people buy every day, plus the individual Lightning Lanes, what's the point here? Where are we going with this? The Lightning Lane line is going to be longer than the standby line.
Sure.
And when the Lightning Lane line is long,
Whoa.
when the Lightning Lane line is long, it's a bad experience for everyone involved.
Yeah.
The Lightning Lane line is long. That means the standby line comes to a halt. The standby line comes to a halt, you get those 100+ minute waits. When the Lightning Lane gets long and you've got people in the Lightning Lane waiting 20, 30, 35, 40 minutes for an attraction in the fast lane, that's a bad experience for everybody involved.
Yeah.
The lightning lane needs to be short at all times. If this Premier Pass works and people purchase it starting October 30th and they make a lot of money with this, I wouldn't be surprised, if they're smart, that the lightning lane multipass goes away. Because now to skip a line, you got to pay. But you don't have to, because the standby line is still, because the line keeps moving, the lightning lane is short, everybody's happy. That's how we figured this out.
I have one huge thing that we have not discussed in this.
Yeah.
And that is, with every new lightning lane experience that they're putting out, every new fastpass variant in this multiverse of Disney.
Yeah. Multiverse of madness.
Yeah, it literally is a multiverse of madness. They are, and I'm just going to say this the nicest way I can, excluding and disregarding and showing that people who are local to the park, who have moved here to come to this park, do not matter. And the reason I say that is because we used to get up and go, hey, let's go to the park today. I can't do that with a lightning lane multipass anymore. I can't, because everything is gone at 7 a.m.
Mm-hmm.
And if you're like, you shouldn't have to need to get up at 7 a.m.
And then
to do that.
And the rebuttal that somebody would come at you is, well, you don't have to buy it. It's like, well, the individual, or the lightning lane multipass is sold to so many people that the standby lines are always long. Right. So you almost do have to buy it because it is so cost effective, I guess.
But like, if you and I are working and we decide, hey, let's jump over to Disney later, that is off the table at that point. Also,
you might get one thing done when you go.
Right, if we purchase it, and it again,
or just going in the standby lines.
Right, but if you are somebody who is more local to the parks and might purchase something like that, then it really has almost no worth for you if you're not planning like somebody coming in on vacation.
Right.
And the flip side to that is also, you and I are not going to be like, hey, let's go stay at a deluxe resort so we can also pay another $500 a person
right.
to walk up and walk into the line. Like, spoiler alert, that's not in our budget for a weekend.
Right.
Like, it's just not.
Well, you look at a resort like just the first one I thought of, the Grand Floridian, you're probably going to be looking at least $600 or $700 just for the night.
Right.
And then another, if you want to go to Magic Kingdom, up to $450 for the day.
Right.
That's $1,000 a day. That just ain't happening for locals. Right. It's not happening.
The flip side to that is also that Universal, if you purchase their highest annual pass as a local, or even just as a human who wants to visit Universal, there is after 4 o'clock, right? After
Correct.
4 o'clock?
After 4, yep.
There is the ability to use the Express Pass. So you can go through one time, they scan your pass, and it's after 4 p.m. Now, it is very specific. It's not like included all day. But what that does is allow for a time where guests who are visiting from out of town, who are vacationing, that they don't have annual pass holders, in that line with them unless they go out of their way to purchase that. And
at least not till later in the day.
But that also allows for people who want to pay more and utilize that a time frame later in the day where they can enjoy that.
Right.
And overall, I do want to say that I feel like whether it's, everything that Universal is doing in terms of their accessibility, their availability for express passes, how they are handling their express passes and making them available to locals if you want to pay a higher price to be able to utilize that express pass after 4.
Which we do.
It's so much simpler, and they are doing it in a way that is way less confusing and also keeps the flow of things going the way that you would like to see it, whether you're local, visiting, whoever you are. And that's just what I think. What do you think?
I've got a question for you.
Okay.
When we moved down here in 2019,
Yes.
I don't remember the exact number, but I believe the platinum pass that we got at the time, I want to say that was $7.99 or $8.99. I don't remember. I think it was $8.99 for the year.
Okay.
I don't recall. Okay.
Sure.
After COVID, annual passes went away. Then the annual passes came back and they were drastically different. Now, that price point gets you what's called the Florida Resident Sorcerer Pass, or if you're a Disney Vacation Club member, you're eligible for it as well. That pass is now $9.49, I think it is, or $9.99. Okay.
Okay.
Now there is something called the Disney Incredipass,
Right.
which the only real difference between the Incredipass and the Sorcerer Pass, which we have, is the blockout dates between it's the Wednesday through Saturday Thanksgiving week and the
Right.
last 2 weeks of the year.
Right.
That's really the only difference. But the Incredipass, I believe, is $14.99,
Right.
which is a $500 difference.
Sure.
Would you consider upgrading to the Incredipass if there was a after 4 p.m., after 5 p.m., something like that, addition to that annual pass benefit, similar to the Premier Pass, where you would get Lightning Lane access until the park closes, one ride, you go once
One ride
to
per
each
day
attraction
per person. Yeah.
with that $500 upgrade. Would you consider that? Is that something you would consider? Would it be worth it to you?
Without a doubt, upgrade me.
Okay.
Upgrade me. And the reason I say that is because I see the way that it works. It eliminates the alienation of me, like when I want to go to the park. And the other thing about that is, as a Florida resident, I get to pay, monthly.
Right.
I don't have
true.
to make a giant payment, once a year.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, my initial reaction is yes, absolutely. And I don't know if that's necessarily the right answer.
I agree with you. I would consider doing that upgrade. Universal has got it figured out as far as the annual passes go. Now, granted, their passes have gotten a lot more expensive in the last 3 or 4 years. They're still cheaper than Walt Disney World's. But the Express Pass after 4 is such a cool benefit that's not just less blackout dates, It's such a cool benefit. You get a slightly bigger merchandise discount. It's 15% versus 10%, which really isn't that much of a difference. But the fact that you get that Premier Pass level benefit on your annual pass every day after 4:00, that is something that, that could be a big moneymaker for Disney as well.
Counter question.
Yes.
So let's just say, in theory, I pay for my photos on top of my annual pass. I pay $100
It's another thing.
for the year.
Yeah.
Like, easy for me. I'm a photo girly. Like, I love to have my photos.
It's also a no-brainer when you look at the cost of PhotoPass.
Right. So, no brainer. No problem at all. I can also purchase the ability to, I want to say it's just the water parks, or it might be, I don't think it's water parks and mini golf. I think it's just the water parks.
It used to be water parks and golf. Like you used to play at the Oak Trail Golf Course over at by Magic Kingdom.
So there's another additional add-on you can use for your pass.
Yeah.
My next question to you is, as opposed to making the pass more expensive, what if what was available to you was a flat rate flat rate, doesn't matter what pass you get, of like $800 for the year for you to add on that express pass on any Disney pass.
So basically adding the Lightning Lane Premier Pass on.
Mm-hmm. At like after 4.
I would be shook if they offered that for $800.
$1,000. I don't know. But what I'm saying is as an additional cost.
I mean,
because if you buy a Pixie Dust pass or whatever, there's like 3 days you can go during the year, right?
But I would imagine it wouldn't be for any annual pass. I would imagine it would have to be at least the Sorcerer Pass or the...
But that's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
I'm saying that you make it the add-on. You don't get a cheaper photo pass because you have a Pixie Dust pass.
Right.
You make it an add-on. And if that's not worth it to you because you get your, 3.5 days during the year with a lower pass, it's a lot more than that. I'm just being facetious.
No, I got you.
But then is that worth it to you for those couple of days? For whatever days that you are not blacked out? Because that also makes it where people would consider like, oh, I'm going to buy a higher pass because I want to add on this benefit.
It's got to be
restrictive.
What I'm saying? It's got to be restrictive, though. It's got to be 3 p.m. or later, 4 p.m. or later.
That's what I'm saying, 4 p.m. or later.
Yeah.
Like add that on.
Yeah, absolutely. Because it's got to also be worth it for the daytime guests to pay all that money for the entire day of the Lightning Lane Premier Pass. But if it's going to be a benefit that's going to cost me some extra on my annual pass, but I can use that any day I go to the park after a certain time, then 100% yes.
I mean, I will also say maybe the beauty of them only having that available on the highest pass is that it also like makes the pool smaller of the people who use it. So maybe you don't offer it for any pass.
And that goes back to my point of the less people in the Lightning Lane, the better the experience everyone's going to have. Lightning Lane goes faster. Standby line goes faster. You're not standing still. Your hips aren't hurting because you're standing in the Seven Dwarfs freaking mine train queue for 2.5 hours like we did one time and literally never moved. It was one of the worst experiences I've ever had. And this is before we moved down here. This is years ago. But
my feet have never hurt so
bad. It was so bad. And I could walk all day long. I can do 14-hour park days, no problem. I will walk. But the second you have me standing still for 20 minutes at a time, that's where I start to get, the achy breaky heart, man. I start to get pain in my hips and my butt and my feet, and everything just stinks. And that's not a fun experience for somebody who's standing in a line at a very expensive theme park. When the Lightning Lane is shorter, everyone wins.
So here's the thing. We're, dreaming up these.
Yeah.
What if? Let's just talk about the announcement that was happening on October 30th. Is it worth it?
It's weird because we have kind of a skewed perspective living down here. If I was at home in Massachusetts and I got to come here once a year like I was doing before, I might have a different perspective. I don't...
Say this from somebody who is booking a deluxe resort. You're not booking Art of Animation. Like, think about your budget.
Yeah, also that.
Like, think of it from that way. A deluxe resort that is your preference.
Yes, I do think it's worth it then. If I'm somebody who's got the money to stay at a deluxe resort, and I've got the money to pay for the park tickets, and I don't have to get up at 6:45 in the morning every day on my vacation to hopefully get the ride Lightning Lanes that I want, yeah, it's worth it.
I agree. I think that it's worth it.
People will buy it.
I just think that it's worth it if that is something you can afford.
There's people who pay $150 to $200 for a 3-hour after-hours party. There's people who pay $150 to $200 for a 5-hour Halloween party. People are going to buy this. It's going to happen. And honestly, I hope they do, because if this does really well and Disney makes a lot of money on it, which I hope they do, this will potentially make them consider getting rid of the Lightning Lane multipass. And that would make me so happy.
I have said it multiple times here. I've said it in private. I've said it to friends and family. I think that because the Lightning Lane multipass is cheap in comparison to SeaWorld.
Now, it is
and
a
Universal.
different experience.
I'm not talking about
but you get what you pay for.
I'm talking about somebody comes here, they don't care that it's different at Universal. They don't care that it's different at SeaWorld. All they do is they book their vacation and they know
right.
Oh, that's what I have to buy.
But I'm just saying that's the reason why it is cheap, is because it's a different experience.
What I'm saying is
Go ahead.
People are the price is low enough where people will buy it whether or not.
Yeah.
Yeah, whether or not they're getting the product that they're imagining in their head.
Yeah.
It
happens.
The cost of it is not bad at all. And the thing is, if you look at like we had the example, a half day, not a half day, like a partial day at Universal till what, 6, right?
Yeah, 9 to 5.
9 to 5. 9 to 5. That's a work day. You might reconsider doing an express pass at Universal if it was something like that because of the money. Because if you have a family of 5, you're looking at least, upwards of $600 when it comes to taxes for one day.
Mm-hmm.
For not even a full day. You're done by 5. You're clocking out at 5. And I think that a price point like that, people question. I think that right now, people don't question that. They go, oh, well, we should get something. And maybe I'm wrong, but I think it's so affordable to the majority of people who have the, luxury of being able to vacation at Disney, that they factor that in. The cost of it is enough where they just factor it into their cost of their vacation.
Yeah.
And I don't know if it would be the same, if not almost everybody who's booking their vacation, and I could be wrong, but a lot of people who book their vacation are just like, yep, add it in.
Oh, I can confirm that this happens. I've seen it. I get asked all the time. I have people coming up to me at 3:00 in the afternoon saying, what is this Lightning Lane thing?
Right.
When you've already missed out on 6 hours worth of Lightning Lanes because it's so cheap that it's $30. Oh, see if I can skip a couple lines before the end of the day. But there's a chance you might not. But it's still cheap enough where you're willing to throw that money out.
I'm also just going to say right now, you are not going to get a video from us testing this out on October 30th.
No, we're not.
We love you guys, but we
don't make enough money off this channel yet to do that.
No, not yet. But even
eventually, hopefully.
But even then, I feel like I'd be like, no, for a stay over to Deluxe Resort, tickets into the park, and I'm pretending we don't actually have tickets yet.
I keep forgetting you have to be staying at a Deluxe Resort.
Yes, it's
not just a
$300
and something thing.
That's the other thing.
Yeah, it's
like
crazy.
If you were to go look right now, like Disney, like how much it would cost.
Even if one of my DVC member friends was like, here's some points for a night, I still wouldn't do it as a test.
Yeah, like just for funsies, I'm just gonna look up Disney World Resort stay to see like what that might look.
You don't want to see what that costs.
But see, that's got to be factored in.
Oh, it 100% is. Yeah.
So I mean,
that's why Disney Vacation Club is the way to go.
You know what I'm getting at, though.
Yeah, 100% know what you're getting at. It's an astronomical cost for a test of this, and we just don't have the funds to do that.
Yeah, you just won't be like.
I hope whoever tries it on October 30th, I hope it works out for you. Report back if you did try it. Leave us a comment if you're watching this video leading up to that and you remember that you watched this video. Let us know what Lightning Lane Premier Pass is like. What is it like to skip a line at Disney? Like that's almost unheard of. I can't remember the last time that anything like that happened, because fastpass, Lightning Lane, Genie Plus has always been a return time based product. This has never been a thing unless you're on a VIP tour. This has never been a thing that you would just walk into the Lightning Lane and get on a ride.
Yeah. It's really hard to find
Yeah,
prices.
don't worry about it.
Because I mean, like you're looking at hundreds of dollars
Oh,
per
yeah.
night.
Oh, yeah.
So as much as we would love to test this out for you, we won't be.
No. But we'll be keeping an ear to the ground for folks who are actually doing it because we follow a lot of Facebook pages and things like that. We'll report back with some firsthand stories from folks who, or third-party stories from folks who actually tried the Premier Pass and let you guys know what they're saying.
One group of people I know who have already said that they're going to do it, and we've gotten to work with them with Give Kids the World, is the Lost Bros. I don't know if they're being facetious and actually going to do it, or
probably
they did say that. But
it's a business expense for them.
Yeah, but I just overall, do I think it could be worth it if this is how much this is in your budget to even stay at a deluxe resort?
Yeah, if it's in your budget, it's worth it.
And you feel that amount per person per day per park is worth it. I do think it will be worth it for some people.
Mm-hmm.
But I think
but worth has very different definition depending on who you're talking to.
It's definitely subjective. But I do think that overall, I would love more than anything to see a complete overhaul and just clean up the whole thing.
Mm-hmm.
Whatever offerings you have for people,
keep it simple.
Like, it is getting so confusing, and it just, I believe that in the future we will see just guess what? This is what this is, and this is what that is, and this is how we're doing things now. But I do think that if they do that, it has to be all at once.
For sure.
For sure. Like, clean up the whole thing. But any last thoughts about this?
No, I think we gave some pretty good thoughts on this. We got our questions answered by Scott Gustin, almost like he was listening live. I don't know. I don't really have many more thoughts than I've already given. I think it's subjective who can afford it. If you think it's worth it, it's going to be pricey. It's a very similar product to Universal's, which works really well for some people. Not everybody gets Express at Universal, but the folks who do have it love it. So I'm interested to see how well this goes over starting October 30th, because they're starting with the deluxe guests for a reason. These are the people
the pilot program.
Those are the people who have the expendable funds to be able to try something like this.
Right.
So let's see how that goes. If it goes really well, I'm sure that maybe they'll trickle it down to moderate and value guests. We'll see what happens. Maybe you won't even need to stay at a resort to get it. Although I do think that you should have to stay at a resort to get this, because that just helps in keeping the line small.
Yeah.
So with that said, those are our thoughts.
Yeah.
On the Lightning Lane Premier Pass.
We hope that we answered all your questions. Give this video a like. Make sure you subscribe. Tell all your friends. Also, follow us anywhere that you get to enjoy your social media. And then make sure that you're subscribed to us and leave us a review or comment anywhere you listen to your favorite podcast.
And give this video a thumbs up, because that really, really actually does help us out.
And I know earlier we mentioned we've had a very busy month and a half or so, a very busy October. So as we continue through the rest of the year, there's so many awesome things happening. We're excited to share them all with you. And thank you so much for joining us today. And until next time,
we will see you around the parks. Enjoy your Lightning Lane Premier Passes, everybody. We'll see you real soon.